Hey guys, welcome to The Beat Goes On. Tonight we are sitting down with, and because I can't ever pronounce this name right, I'm going to let one of you guys take the lead and pronounce your band name, please.
We are Malo De Dentro.
Malo De Dentro. Okay, I might get that right from now on, but that's almost as bad as Verathas. Just saying. So guys, please introduce yourselves.
Sure, I'm Stone Martin. I am the lead singer, rhythm guitarist, and main songwriter.
My name's Chris Ridenauer. I'm the bass player, backup vocal, shit talker,
Nice.
all that good stuff.
I thought that was the drummer's job.
Well, he does some shit talking too, but...
Okay,
We're
just
musicians.
Yeah.
We all do some
Oh,
shit.
okay. So that's what I come from a huge family, so I get that everybody does the shit talking.
Yeah,
that's
Chris was being redundant. That's all.
Yeah. So let's start with number one. How the heck did you come up with that tongue twister of a name for your band?
So, our drummer, Malo, is not here tonight. He is the lone remaining original member of the band. So so I've heard him tell the story, so that's the best I can do.
Fair
is
enough.
retell the story. He and Chuck Simmos started the band in 2005, and they were just looking for something that sounded cool, and they were going with they were looking for Evil Within in Spanish.
Okay.
And so I guess they were working together at the time, and they went to somebody at work who spoke Spanish and said, I don't know if they Googled it or whatever, but they came up with this, and they said, "Does this work?" And they're like, "Yeah, that'll work." And I think the literal translation is "bad inside," but the accepted translation is "evil within." So it's not bad teeth. We've gotten that one a few times. Evil dentist. We've heard that one a couple times.
Nice.
None of those are correct.
So it actually translates to something very similar to the evil within.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's tough. It's tough in this day and age to find a band name that hasn't already been taken.
And you would be amazed at some of the stories that I have heard. Oddity Paradox is probably one of the worst stories for how they came up with their name.
It's a good. I like the name.
I love the name.
It's definitely unique.
I absolutely love the name. My father is my own personal Oddity Paradox. He is a bohemian beatnik biker. So that high intelligence chess player biker.
Okay.
My own personal Oddity Paradox. So their band name totally worked for me.
My first real band was called Burst of Reality.
I can get that.
That came from a hallucinogenic. I can't even say it right. Hallucinogenic evening in the dorms when I was about 19. So.
Nice. Yeah. Oddity Paradox actually literally started doing research trying to find a unique name that wasn't already taken. There was no inspiration behind it. It was Icky Stain being Icky Stain. And y'all know him, so you know that level of dive in research that man can do. And that is where Oddity Paradox came from. Yep.
And there's that other band. Was that Agtawat or something like that?
Akgawat.
Agtawat.
Do you know the story on that one? ATGOWAT, which stands for...
All the good names are taken.
My God.
All of the other good ones were already taken. Yeah.
Wait. See, and that's it. There's another band out there called Some Effing Band.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one, too. I like the uniqueness of names. I really do. Being named Larry as a female... You got to A, have a sense of humor about names, and B, enjoy uniqueness.
Right.
So let's get back to Malo De Dentro. Holy cow! My God! I swear I am not drinking anything stronger than water. Wowzers! So, how long was the band around?
Almost 15 years.
Wow! Holy cow! Y'all have been around for a minute and a half.
So I joined the band in 2016 as the singer, and this was So the original incarnation of the band was more of the, It was more groove metal, more rhythm based,
Okay.
and the vocals were more of the growly, screamy
Okay.
type. And in 2015, the guitarist and the bass player and the drummer decided they were going to kind of go in a different direction with it, and so they wanted to do something a little more melodic. So I auditioned in early 2016 just to sing,
Right.
and came in and did my thing, and so joined the band at that point and started playing guitar as well, just because I
Because you
because I
can.
can, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
And it
Right.
fit. And so the other thing I started doing was I started writing a lot of the music,
Okay.
pretty much right off the bat. Because some of the stuff they were writing didn't always fit that melodic vocal style.
That new area that they were heading in,
Right,
new
right.
direction.
So still great heavy drums, heavy guitars, a little more riff based than rhythm based, because that's how I write.
Okay.
And then we've gone through several other players since then. Chris joined the band in 2018.
2018, summer of 2018.
2018.
I'm the FNG and the new guy.
Yeah. And Steve, our lead guitarist, joined in 2017, November of 2017.
Yeah.
And so Steve is actually my nephew, which we've not made a big thing out of, but he is my nephew.
All that matters is he good? That's
hell yeah.
all that
Fucking
matters.
crazy good.
I mean,
I put him up against anybody in the city any day of the week, any day.
there's no problem that y'all are related. It's, are you any good together that matters? That's it. That's all that
You know what?
matters.
He can sing, he can play, he can do them both at the same time. He also engineered both of our last albums.
Wow.
So both
Very nice.
Euthanasia and From Darkened Skies were both all do-it-yourself, and they were both mastered and engineered by Steve.
That is becoming a new thing that I'm seeing. And at first, when I started hearing about bands doing it themselves, it didn't faze me because I knew that they had certain members in the bands that had tech expertise that made it a little bit easier to actually put that music
Yeah.
together themselves. But now it's actually becoming more and more of a thing. Is there a reason behind that beyond cost?
Whoa.
But, go ahead.
It's a lot easier, I think. A big part of it is cost. You know, when you go to a studio, you're easily paying what?
You might pay $10,000 for for a 5-song thing.
I did a 5-song EP with a former band with Jeremy Parker, and I think we ended up paying like $5,000 after everything was done. And it's, you get what you pay for, really.
Right.
That $5,000, that was money well spent. He did a smashing job with the EP. But in this new, I guess, economy, who has that kind of money to spend?
No kidding.
You're just going to, you could get a free download or something, or maybe, spend the money on a program like Pro Tools or Sonar, and that's all really the investment you need besides the time investment.
Right.
And then, you have a home studio, you just have some basic gear. You can take as long as you want, if you can be comfortable, you're not on some kind of time restraint or anything like that, because you're getting charged by the hour in the studio.
Super low pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I think it brings out a little more creativity when you're not worried about, like, I gotta get this take done in, like, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
That this kind of brings me into a topic that has warped into a standard topic that comes up now versus then. Back in the day, to put out an album, that took a lot of work, a lot of energy, effort, and money.
I don't know if you saw, I posted on Sunday was the 1st. Yeah, Sunday was March 1st, which marked 2 years ago that we put out From Darkened Skies, which is 13 tracks. 14 if you count the hidden track. But that is officially, and I've been in bands for 25 years, that is officially the first full-length CD I've ever done. I've done EPs and I've done singles forever. I've never done a full. So yeah, in my 40s, finally did a full length CD. So it was incredibly rewarding to me at that point to be able to do that, and we did everything ourselves, every aspect of it, not the recording, the mixing, the mastering, but we did the artwork. We had we had to send it out to get printed,
right?
But at the end of the day, we put out a few $100s to get the CDs printed and get the cases and do all that. That was it. That's all it took. It took us a few months to get it done, but otherwise, so I don't know if there's anything. I think the biggest thing that's different is not only the cost, but the control. Musicians are control freaks.
Not say it ain't so.
Just a little.
Oh my goodness!
And so all of a sudden, okay, if you wanted to be able to afford one of the real big nice studios and the time it takes to do it the way you want to do it and to do it well, then you've got to have thousands of dollars. There's no doubt. And most of us don't.
No. Or
I'm sorry, I don't know any rich musicians. Not at this level.
Well, I mean, you're sitting in this office of this company that I work for, and I do all right, and our drummer does well. Some of us are in school and working at jobs that are that don't afford that sort of thing, and so being able to do it is huge. But the other part of that too, and I don't know if anybody's kind of brought this up, but in the old days too, you might be able to find a small label that was willing to enable you to do that,
right?
Because they're looking for something.
They were trying to get their start as well,
and they're looking for something on the back end so that they can drop. Let's just say it's only a couple grand. You're going to do a 3-song EP. We got $1,500, $2,000. We're going to front to the band. Those opportunities just don't happen anymore.
Right.
They just don't.
No.
The band has to have their own money, and you've got to have a good recording to get noticed by anybody, which, again, still just doesn't happen like it used to. Say, I was in high school in the 80s, really started playing music in the 90s, and there was still hope that, you could get discovered or whatever.
Right.
And now what do you got to do to get discovered? You've got to...
You got to go on these TV shows and hope to God you get
YouTube, and you've got to do all these things, but the one thing is they'll tell you is you've got to have a good demo. Back in the day, we could have a shitty demo, and it was fine. It will get you in front of people. That doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So the whole landscape has changed in the over 25 years that I've been playing music. It's changed dramatically.
Even in the past couple of years, like I have been lucky enough to be able to be in a band that got picked up by a label, and they paid for our recording, and they tried to get us some merchandising and stuff like that. But from the time we first pressed record to the time we had an album in our hands, it was a little over a year, and we still had to pay all that back as far as recoupment.
Right.
And it was, we did have a good amount of control, like over the album art and things like that, but there was money that they weren't willing to spend. Like we wanted to have the lyrics in the book. That's
an old school thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were really hardcore. We need the lyrics in the book, and so we settled with putting a little QR code, and that's where I got the idea to our website. If you wanted to see like pictures and lyrics and shit like that.
And that's Oddity Paradox. When they release a new song video, they actually, most of them that they're putting out actually have the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I liked that when I first started following them because it allowed me to connect to the music better.
Yeah.
I knew the words.
Yeah.
I knew what they were. I knew what Icky was singing up on that stage. So it allowed me to connect better. And it goes back to the old school days of having albums.
One of the things I've seen done in the last couple of years. So I don't know if you've seen Ciphered Existence.
Yes, they are incredible.
Tanya has put, I think she's the main lyric writer for them. She's done these little cards that have lyrics on them to a song or two, and she'll hand those out at the shows. I think that's a pretty cool idea.
Cute. That is a neat idea.
Yeah. I've also thought about places that have video, live venues that have video capabilities that because Malo De Dentro plays with a click track, we can time everything perfectly, and we could do just nothing but lyrics up on the screen while we're playing. We could do that, but then everybody would know how badly I fucked the lyrics up because I wouldn't be able to see it. It'd be behind me, and then everybody would know that I fucked the lyrics badly.
You know, then you just have to start doing what Icky Sane does and stepping up on stage and fully admitting that, by the way, if you know the lyrics, guess what? I don't.
No, real musician never admits that he fucked it up.
We could have a Malo De karaoke.
Yeah. You gotta pretend like nothing happened. You gotta pretend you did it perfectly. And hey, it's all artistic license, right?
Absolutely.
I wrote the damn song. If I want to change the lyrics to garbled shit on stage, I can do that.
You get to do that. Absolutely. Well, and I tell all of
That's the live version.
All of the bands that I work with, when I go out, I see the shows, I do those live video feeds, I look at them and tell them, watch me. If you don't see my head cock in that funny way or me make a unhappy face, then nobody else heard the mistake you just made either.
I usually have my wife in the crowd, and she's making faces at me at the smallest mistakes. So if you see me on stage go like this, I shrug my shoulders, fuck it. Nobody else noticed, right?
It's one of the pleasures that I get to have doing those videos of you guys up on stage is I'm out in the audience and I'm getting to hear the reactions of the audience. Yep. And they don't even, because I've got a camera in my face, I no longer exist in people's minds. So they say all kinds of things around me. Oh my God, the things I hear women say about the male musicians. Holy cow. And you bet I go back and tell them what I just heard about them in the audience. It's really fun to watch full-grown men blush. I gotta say it. It's awesome. So give me some background on you, because you have said it a few times and talked about how long you have been in the music community.
I've only been in Arizona it'll be 5 years coming up in a couple months. But I started playing guitar in high school, like most of us. Started to play a little more seriously in college, entered my first band. Well, my first real band. I was in a band in high school called Guillotine that was just me, a bass player, and a drummer playing Rock You Like a Hurricane over and over again with no vocals.
Nice.
So that was my first band. But my first real band, a buddy of mine who's also named Larry King.
Nice. There's now 3 of us out in this world. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Larry and I started a band called Burst of Reality in college, and that was my first real experience. And we started, writing originals, and then all of a sudden we became a cover band who slipped a couple of originals in per set. So I did that for a couple of years, toured around the country, around the Midwest, doing, helping put myself through college.
Right.
And so kind of got started there right after college. Within a couple of years I was married with a kid, and that slows you down a little bit.
Right.
But so I did lots of cover bands through the years. Before Malo De Dentro, I'd been playing covers for a better part of 15 years. And mostly playing bass and singing. And when I moved to Arizona, I thought, you know what, I'm done playing covers. I want to get back to it. I'd always been writing on my own. Mm-hmm. But it was I want to just do nothing but metal. I want to write originals, and I want to play guitar. I'm tired of playing bass. So I joined Malo. I think beginning of 2016, I had something like 6 band auditions over 2 weeks. And I joined a cover band for a short time, for about 3 months. And then we got to the end of that, and it wasn't working. And they could see that I wasn't really into it, and I really wasn't. So I switched out of that, got with these guys, and like I said, within a couple of months was writing stuff. And I have a tendency to jump in and take over. And so That might have been part of the problems with past bands as well, that I kind of pushed my way into the lead. And so this one, I was with the band about 7-8 months, and Chuck, who had been with the band for 12 years at that point, decided he didn't want to keep doing the clean stuff. He wanted to go back to the heavier style. So unfortunately, Chuck quit at that point. We had a couple other guitar players over time. And so when we do our show at the end of March, you're going to see some of those past members come in. Chuck's going to play.
Nice.
Dave, the old bass player, Joe Bertucci, the old singer, Dennis Stanton, Mike Johnson, all past members. Jerry Loomis, they're all going to come in and play a few songs.
And we are going to talk about that show coming up at the end of March too. But I want to be able to actually dedicate some time to that.
Okay.
Chris, how about you? You talked about you were with a signed band even. So give me some background on Chris and music.
Okay. All right. Well, I've actually been performing my whole life. I started in elementary school in orchestra playing trumpet. And then I moved on to marching band in junior high playing trumpet. And then I graduated to guitar. Played a little bit of guitar all through high school. Never was really in a band, just jammed with a bunch of people and things like that. My senior year of high school, I was in a band called, what was it? It's a really crazy emo name. Distraught. That was the name of the band. It was,
definitely emo. Definitely emo.
I don't know. I was just there. But it was great. We played at the old Mason Jar. We played at the basement of the Nile, and that kind of fell apart because we kind of sucked.
At least you can own that.
Most first bands are pretty awful.
Yeah. And then, so the next couple years, I just kind of jammed here and there. I wasn't really serious about being in a band. In about 2005, I joined a grunge band called The End. And we started playing around the sets, Joe's Grotto, Big Fish Pub, things like that. And that kind of fizzled out, and I was in an instrumental prog band called Ameliora. That band was rad. So I've been kind of in and out of the local scenes probably almost 20 years now, in various ways, shape, or form. Back in 2010, I joined a band called Nevermind Eternity. They're kind of infamous in the scene. I don't know about if anybody remembers them these days, but that's the band I ended up getting signed with. We played a show out in Hollywood at the Whiskey, and Metal Sanaz came up to us, and she was like, "Hey, you guys are awesome. I know a guy," and we ended up talking and got a record contract. That went about 2 years, and we just kind of fizzled out as well. That morphed into a band called Black Widow Kiss, which is pretty rad. We recorded a cool EP with Jeremy Parker, and that one kind of imploded as well.
Bands seem to implode a lot around you.
It just imploded in general.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Alcohol probably had something to do with that. Last experiences, but
yes, that here hold my beer is it's a thing.
Oh, it is.
And musicians in general are just a flaky bunch.
Pretty much.
Present company included. It's just never.
Sometimes I don't answer my phone for weeks.
I so can't fathom that. I can't.
So we sit here with our phones on the table.
Yeah, right.
Well, my boss will yell at my phone because I will be at my paying job, and I keep my phone on vibrate, but my phone vibrates all day long with different bands reaching out to me, bands emailing me things, somebody checking with me, hey, I have a hole opening up in a show, do you know a band that can fill it? And my boss is like, and I'm like, hey, I'm still working. Just because my phone is buzzing, I'm still working.
Multitask.
Yeah, I do
Something
that
like
too.
that.
I do that too. But yeah, so I can't fathom that whole thought process of not responding.
He's full of shit. Don't listen to him.
I am full of shit. But sometimes I look at my phone and be like, I'm not answering that.
That would make me nuts. It would make me nuts to not.
Several times today. Nope. Not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to learn that. I need to learn that restraint because I don't have it.
I just channel my inner 90s child. We didn't have cell phones and things like that, you know.
Now you sound like the old man.
I'm getting there.
So, well, that brings us to a good topic because there are bands out there that are seriously focused on trying to draw the younger crowd to the point
smart.
Because but to the point that they will not even discuss anything that would even slightly begin to show their actual age.
Okay. We haven't done that.
I look at it and I'm like, seriously, you think people don't know?
Well, if you look at Malo De Dentro right now, and Brett and I are in our 40s. Excuse me, I'm going to age myself. Yeah, we're in our 40s. Chris is in his 30s. Steve is 24. No, I'm sorry, he just turned 25. He's 25. And so, that kind of brings in a lot of different influences.
Well, of course.
From different eras. I mean, we all grew up listening to, classic rock and all that kind of stuff, but then have progressed through time. But I think it not only kind of gives us the different musical influences and the different musical sounds that are coming out of us.
Right.
But also, I think there's a little bit of,
there's different life experiences going into your music.
But there's a different level of appeal as well, because if you say, I'm 25 and I'm going to go watch this band and it's all a bunch of 50-year-olds, I got nothing in common with that. Maybe that's going to turn me off. Maybe not. If they're open-minded, they're not. But there are a lot of people who may do that. I mean, there may be 50-year-olds who are looking at it going, "This is a bunch of 20-year-olds. I don't want to listen to this shit." So I'm open. I'm open to everything. That part doesn't bother me. But I do know that it exists, and we try to appeal to as wide an audience as we can. So I got 70-year-olds to 15-year-olds listen. That's awesome. That's the goal.
And that's my thought process is, why would you want to try and have your demographic be this one small group when in reality, if you did it right, you could have the 12 to 70 easily.
Yeah, don't limit yourself. I think that's the key. Don't limit yourself. So so I'm kind of going to get into the promotion part of it a little bit.
By all means.
Because that is something that has been a hot topic in the Phoenix metal scene, for sure.
Oh my God, politics on it are scary.
So I don't want to talk politics. I just want to talk reality.
Right.
The reality is, I have 3,000 friends on my Facebook, and most of my Facebook activity is promoting my band.
Right.
As most of my musicians' friends do the same thing.
Absolutely.
We have 2,500 members on our band page. Great. That's solely for promoting the band, although we do use it to promote other bands as well, especially if there's someone that we're friends with, they have an upcoming show with, something like that. But here's the deal. Out of 3,000 people that are on my personal page, let's say, like we were kind of doing numbers earlier, let's say 1,000 of them are paying attention. Which they're not, but let's just say,
we like that number 1,000. It's a pretty number.
Let's say 1,000 people are paying attention. Of that 1,000, probably 800 of them are other musicians in this scene, or their spouses, or their children, or there's someone in their network.
Inner circle. Yeah,
exactly. And those people are already going to shows. They're already buying the merch what they can, because as we already discussed, musicians are broke. And so really the key to promotion that nobody, at least I haven't seen anybody really tap into in my time here, is how do we get the casual metal live music goer who might go to 1 or 2 shows a year, but they don't know what's out there. They're not familiar with the scene, in quotes.
I'm like, thanks to Johnny Tsunami of Voodoo Sliver, I try not to use that word anymore.
Which one?
The scene.
The scene.
We're changing
I don't know what else to call it.
the community.
The community, okay.
Because the scene makes people do exactly. Nobody can see the look that you made, but the scene makes people go, oh,
So
and they become standoffish. Where community is inclusive.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a little
I
more
don't mind that label, but let's talk about it though as I like to use the scene because
so many
the
people
scene
do.
is specific.
Right.
Which is maybe what you were saying is community is a little more all inclusive. So,
Right.
But we don't have a community. That's the problem. So what we have is the scene, and everybody I market my shit to is part of the scene.
Right.
And what we're missing is the larger community. We're missing the people who are not part of the scene, who are not plugged into it in any way, but they like metal. They wouldn't mind going to see an original band now and then, but have no fucking clue how to find it. Or where to go or who to talk to. And those are the people we need to be marketing to.
That's where I came into play.
And that's awesome. So the more people like you that we're pulling into, and they don't necessarily have to be coming in to do interviews and podcasts and all that other shit. But again, someone that I can pull into a show, let's say twice a year.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be Malo De Dentro. It could be any band. It could just say, okay, someone that we can pull into a show twice a year. They're going to come in, have a couple of drinks, they're going to buy tickets, they're going to bring their friends, they're going to buy a t-shirt, maybe a CD. Those are the people we need coming to the shows. Not the same 100 people we always get at the shows. And I love the 100 people we get. There's no problem with them.
No, you just want 101 and then 102 and
right. And it's great to see some of the same faces back at your show. And you could did you get the opportunity to go to Joe's Grotto while it was still open?
I did. A couple of times.
Joe's Grotto, after me playing there for like a year and a half, kind of became home base as it was for a lot of bands here in Phoenix.
Shit, I lived there.
It was and it was a milestone for a lot of bands.
Right. Yeah. And besides the fact that it's a great stage, it's a great sound setup. Joe's a great guy.
It was one of my favorite stages to film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the lights are good, and Joe's super easy to get along with, and a good guy. I hope he finds another venue. Joe, if you're listening, I hope you find another venue.
No, seriously, Joe. But not kidding.
But that was where was I going with that? After I had been here for a year and a half, or let me say, being on stages in Arizona for a year and a half, that was the place where you could go on a Saturday night, and if there was a crowd, then you'd see a lot of the same people there all the time, which is great. That's great for business. That's great for the bands.
But it wasn't growing the fan base.
Exactly.
It was not, and I couldn't go from Joe's to another great venue. Club Red is an awesome venue, and can fill. You can put a lot of people in those two stages. But it's not the same crowd. I think some of the crowd has sort of ventured over there since Joe's shut down, because there's a lot of those bands, a lot of the same bands playing there. But it wasn't the same week to week as far as being able to draw to Club Red or to Starlight or to the Blues.
I'd like to get a hold of the people who do the booking for Club Red and talk to them a bit about how they pick their bands, because holy goodness.
So I think as we talk about promotion and still going down that angle, one of the other things, and Chris will back me up on this, back in the day, if you wanted to play a club, you had to be vetted in some way so that they knew you weren't a pile of shit.
Well, and that you could bring money in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, I remember Joe's Grotto, every Wednesday night they used to have an open mic night. And you would call in about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Do you have any spots? Yeah, you guys play at 9. And then you do your best to bring as many people. And you do so many of these Wednesday night shows, and then Joe, or it was a guy named Rick at the time, he'd be like, all right, I got a Saturday show. Do you want to play it? Hell yeah.
Right, because you proved yourself that you could bring people in the door, and you didn't suck.
Yeah, and I got to say, there's tons of great bands in Phoenix right now. I have a lot of favorites. There are a lot of shitty ones out there too, and unfortunately, they're watering down the market for everybody else. And again, I don't want that to sound like, hey, I don't want your band to play. What I want you to do is to get to a point where you're ready to play.
Right.
Have somebody tell you that doesn't know you, hey, you're sounding good. Until you hit that point, you're not ready to play. And I know a lot of other musicians would say the same thing. Right. Not just us geezers who are still playing music, who, again, you either had to audition in some way or you had to provide a CD that says, this is what we're capable of.
Right.
Does it mean you can draw? We don't know yet, but we're willing to give you a shot because we know you can play.
I actually had a booker that I didn't get to work with him before he passed away. He booked for one of my favorite places to go hang out. Somebody that had known him said, oh yeah, for him to decide that a band was worthy to play here, he went and looked at their Facebook page at how many likes, how many followers they had on their Facebook page, and I looked and I went, so he based it on a popularity contest. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I don't know, a lot of I don't want to say the older school of local or any musician, but we did cut our teeth on playing weeknights for nothing, in front of like 5 people in the bar staff. Just
right. Absolutely.
For a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. And then, it's a matter of getting consistent with bringing people and being to the point where your band is tight, and sounding good. The tone's there, the whole song's there. I'm just rambling right now.
But you're making a good point, because I know a lot of bands that actually are awesome. Stereo Rex. I love Stereo Rex. I love the fact that they do covers. I love the fact that they've got great originals that make me have a hard time standing still to take that video. I love that fact. But they still have nights where they have no draw.
Yeah.
And I look at it and go, oh my God, this is horrid. These guys are so awesome. Why don't more people know about them?
Chris's first show with us, again, this was 2017.
2018.
We played the blues. Okay? And the blues can get a crowd. We've played
They
there
can.
before, and the place was packed.
I've played the packed blues before.
We played June of 2018. And it was. I know there were other things going on that night too. I think Anfest was going on.
Anfest was going on that night.
Everybody was at Anfest, so nobody was at the blues. It was us. We had about 5 friends that came specifically to see us, and then I think one of the other bands stayed to watch us. The other 2 bands we played last. One of the other 2 bands bailed.
Well, it was
what
was the one band? The guy Scarecrow was the singer.
I don't remember the name of the band.
But yeah, no, they stuck around. That was good.
But anyway, the point being, and that was actually a Soundphoria show.
Yeah.
And Soundphoria works hard to promote.
They do.
Gavin has done a ton for us over the last
Gavin's
3
pretty
years.
awesome.
We've done a lot of stuff together. I think we've played about 6 shows for Soundphoria, including I think the year 2. The year 2 show. So.
With the famous meme war.
Did you catch the meme war that we did with Mission G?
I actually have only been in the local music community since June 6th of 2019.
I'll share it with you offline. But
absolutely.
But we basically were looking at promotion, and so we did a show. Actually, we did a show with them. I think March or April of that year that we played in at Starlight in Glendale. Mm-hmm. And Mission G played that night. We got off stage, and that was the first time I met Mike. And I was like, Mike Campbell, their drummer, is a very he's a character.
Yeah.
So he and I got to talking a little bit online after that. And I said, look, we're playing this show in September for Soundphoria. What do you think if we act like we're fighting? And he's like, okay, why? I was like, just to get people riled up. Let's just get some attention out of it, and then we'll turn it into a promotion for the show. And so we started what just seemed on the outside as a pissing match. Mm-hmm. And that was the first day. And he and I are messaging back and forth the whole time. Right? Yeah. We're just insulting each other, insulting each other's band. We'd actually laid down a couple of ground rules.
Right.
Ground rules were, nothing personal. you know, we're going to make this fun,
Right.
but otherwise, you know, go nuts with it.
Right.
And there were times when we started it up and we'd get going. You had to watch that shit close because they might bombard us with either insults or what became a meme war. We started creating memes off of photographs we found on each other's pages and other shit that we found other memes and photoshopped their faces on it and stuff. And it just we did this for about a month, and it was all consuming for a month.
Yeah.
And when we got, and again, behind the scenes, we're messaging each other, and if it was like, okay, Mike, I'm having a shitty day, hold back, just give me.
I'm not in it today,
give
man.
Give me 12 hours because I can't defend myself.
Yeah, there were a couple times where me and Mike were instant messaging each other like, dude, I feel like a total asshole. Like that was a little below the belt. Nah, fuck it, you're fine.
Yeah, go for it. Just do it anyway.
So, what is the most outrageous thing y'all have done for promotion?
I think the meme war was
the meme war. Our holiday pictures are pretty funny.
we had our band pictures taken at JCPenney. No shit. It's $50. For $50, we got our band pictures taken. But one of the things we did, because we were in that space, we were standing there, I'm like, let's take some family style pictures. Let's just...
Aww.
And so we did that. And then we photoshopped in like some funky 80s backgrounds or something with stars coming out from behind us and shit like that.
Oh, Lord.
So, you know what? I think one of the things that people notice about us as a group is that we don't take ourselves that seriously. Right. The music is very serious to me, and if you listen to the songs, there's nothing joking in them. There just doesn't. But as personalities, we're just goofs, and so that comes across in some of the promo that we do. Not in the music, but
well,
in the promo.
I know that there was a point there that Malo and Icky Stain were going back and forth using their cats for promotion.
Oh, yeah.
That actually had me cracking up. Cats are great from a distance. They make really good footballs, and that's kind of where I stand.
That's why I put a picture of my dog with the show information.
See, and to me, any animal that has more attitude than I do, oh no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
And that would be cats. Totally.
Okay.
So
I like dogs and cats, so I don't have a preference. I have both.
Cats are okay. I just won't ever own one again. I had a cat cuss me out. I'm done. When your cat cusses you out, that's it.
But you know, the key is getting attention somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to get people to notice what you're doing. And I think that was September of 2018.
Yeah.
There was a turnaround for us. I think in terms of people noticing us and people coming to the shows, that was definitely a moment that did kind of, all of a sudden, I would be out at Joe's at someone else's show, which again is the only other good way to promote is go to the shows,
right?
Talk to people, network in person.
I'm learning that
people don't really like to do, but it's a necessary thing.
You got to step out of your comfort zone.
And I've made a ton of friends that way. I've made a ton of friends just going to shows and just say, hey, great set. And then you just start up a conversation and friendship from there. I mean, we had Christian from Sectus and Tulin from Empire of Desire.
She's a sweetheart.
On our EP. Because, we went to their shows, we played with them. And we sought out certain bands that we wanted to play with because we said, okay, I think we can be mutually beneficial because we want to pick up some of your fans, and we in turn want you to pick up some of ours, which is great for everybody.
Right.
It's
a win-win.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But also, our first couple shows that I was with the band, we got into some of these mixed genre shows, and our first show was New Year's Eve at Joe's. And it was like 8
bands,
and it was very mixed. And
those are hard.
So there's mixed emotions about those types of shows. Number one, you might get someone there who's into some other genre, and they happen to catch 3 of your songs, and they go, "Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that." You might expose a new fan. You might drive them away.
Yeah.
But what we have found, for the most part, is what happens is if you have a mixed genre show like that, people who have showed up, most of them know who they're there to see.
Right.
They come to see that band, and then they leave. So your chances of picking up new fans that were not there for your genre are slim. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it is slim.
And I've just started stepping into booking and building my shows. And because I was raised with a huge music base, seriously everything from polka to metal.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
That's my music base. I don't see lines of music. I look and go, "Ooh, that sounds good. I like that." So as I'm booking my shows, I'm actually, one band is always my it band.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody I'm booking is booked to accompany that band's sound.
Right.
And it's sometimes, I've got a show coming up that I'm booking metal and punk and some lighter rock, but it's kind of a building progression.
Yeah, if
and
you can
it's
build it,
Yeah.
I think that's maybe okay. But you still all have to be kind of in that you got to start at hard rock and move up from there.
And the sounds have to complement. That's what I look for. Do the sounds complement?
So that's kind of what I was getting at. Was we sought out particular bands when I got in the band and we started doing shows again. We did that first show and went, this is. We did 2 or 3 of those and was like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And so we sought out Sectus, Empire of Desire, 3 Seconds
Fatal
More,
Malady.
Fatal Malady.
I actually have a show coming up with them.
Oh, those guys are awesome. They're like the politest guys in the community.
I've had fun getting to know them.
So we sought those bands out, not only because they already had a following, but also because their sound complements ours.
Right.
We have a really great chance of swapping fans at that kind of a show. So that's what we've really focused on. If there was any shows that we set up, which there's only been a handful, you look at our EP release back in July, we had Sectus, Empire of Desire, Fatal Malady, and Crowning Thieves. And so Crowning Thieves kind of being the heaviest of them.
Right.
But again, great guys.
Right.
And so, but that's how we've kind of approached it. Let's seek out the bands that are going to, we're all going to benefit from that. And so I think we've done a pretty good job of that. And that's same thing with this show. We sought out bands that we really wanted to play with Sectus, Empire of Desire. Or, excuse me, not Empire of Desire. We already played with them a couple of times this year.
It was Sectus, 3 Seconds More, and While She Waits.
Sorry, man.
Okay, so you just said something that I'm hearing some bands actually doing. You said you've already played with Empire of Desire a couple of times this year. Do you guys limit how often you play with another band?
Most of the time, we don't have really a choice. Okay. Like I said, we've only booked a couple of the shows on our own, just a handful of times. So most of the time, there are bands that I know are definitely someone that was like, every time they say let's play with them, I'll say yeah, let's do it. We did start when we first started getting back into it. We would play any night of the week, no matter what bands we're playing. We're doing shows. You're paying dues at that point.
Absolutely.
You're doing a Tuesday night with 6 other bands that you've never heard of. You just do it, and hopefully somebody noticed that you were decent, and you can get in on a Saturday night and not play at 6:30.
Yeah.
And
or 1.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think this past probably a year and a half or so, we did start getting more choosy. There were shows that we turned down, actually quite a few shows that we turned down because it either wasn't our genre and we just didn't see the benefit of doing it, or maybe it was somewhere it was like, we played with all those bands 2 weeks ago. It's just there's no benefit to
you don't want
that.
any crowd burnout or anything like that.
Right. And we realized early on, too, when we were in that stage of just playing everything that was thrown at us, we did 3 shows in about a week, and they were all in Phoenix. It was, well, no wonder you're not drawing any fans to the second or third one, because
they've already seen you this week.
Yeah, why are they going to come back next week? Even the best bands, even the guys that are drawing, again, Sectus, Fatal Malady, Empire of Desire, those guys are all drawing really great. But if you stick them in front of the same crowd every week, it's not going to last. So you do have to kind of think about it. The other thing too is we talked a little bit about venues. Some people won't go to particular venues. So if I live in Mesa, I'm probably not going to Glendale to watch a band. Is it maybe because
am I the only one crazy enough to do that on a regular effing basis?
I do it, but
okay.
I live way over on the west side, and I lived in Maricopa for 4 years, so I didn't have a choice. That's way the fuck out there.
Yeah.
So I think, but there's lots of different reasons for that. I don't want to spend the money to get there. Maybe I plan on drinking and I don't want to have to drive back. So maybe I don't have a car. There's lots of reasons for it, but it is a fact and it is the way things go. So you have to think about it in those terms. So Phoenix being, what is it, almost 7 million people?
Something like that.
Or a little over 7 million, I think. Or it's 5 million. I'm sorry. 7 million in the state. Anyway.
That's scary. 7 million in the state and 5 million of them are in Phoenix.
Roughly. The Phoenix area, the metro.
Greater Phoenix area.
Yeah. So as we talk about the scene being watered down by bands by too many bands, it also gets kind of watered down by too many venues. And I hate to say that. I would rather have 3 really great venues that are always busy than have 10 that are just kind of so-so and they're hit or miss.
All right, so that I'm gonna wrap this into one of my favorite questions.
All right.
Okay, because you just totally segued into it for me.
Go for it.
Dream venue. Dream venue. What is your dream venue?
Specifically, or like just I don't know.
That dream
like
venue
Wembley Stadium or some shit like that.
I've had somebody say the base of the Grand Canyon, Madison Square Gardens is a big one. I can
Red Rocks.
imagine the acoustics of that.
Yeah.
Oh my
that
god!
would be fucked up though, because there's a lot of bounce back. But
Oh, I mean, just to stand there. I mean, not the sound, but Red Rock sound looks awesome.
I hear you.
Or I don't know. Does Budokan Stadium in Japan still exist? I
don't know.
For this, you can make it exist.
Sure, why
It's
not?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So do you go location, history, or like quality? So or just size. Like I went straight to Wembley Stadium because I'd go for there's how does that place sit? Like 120,000 people or some shit. Like this big soccer stadium, so it seats
stadium.
a lot of. Is it 10? Isn't this? It doesn't matter. I've never been there either way.
Either way,
Huge.
yeah.
It's huge. It seats a lot of people. So that's where I would go maximum, orgasm effect.
Right.
So that's what I would go for. But if you want to go history, we played Whiskey a Go-Go 2 years ago, and that was awesome for
I played
history.
it first.
Yes, you played there. Yes, you did.
Oh my goodness.
It's not a contest.
So,
No, that was actually a dream
I
venue
left
of
the
mine.
tape measure at home. It is not a contest.
Yeah, but that is a dream venue because there's so much history there.
Like,
Absolutely.
So it's like, hey, you sit down at this booth, you might get Nikki Sixx's VD off the seat.
Yeah.
You
No,
just
that's
Okay.
never know.
Ew.
I was up, we were chilling up in the green room above the Whiskey a Go Go, and I was just sitting there tuning up my bass, like practicing a little bit, just thinking like, wow, Nikki Sixx probably shot heroin right there, and Slash probably got a BJ right there, and Jim Morrison is probably roaming through this alley and whacked the fuck out on LSD or whatever. It's like so much history here. Like I'm standing in the same spot these greats were. This is awesome.
And by the way, those green rooms, there's nobody smoking pot up there, but it is just embedded in the walls.
Yes.
That whole upstairs at the Whiskey smells like weed, which I'm not complaining about, but it's a history thing. It's just
Right.
so much marijuana has been smoked in there, and whatever other drugs, that it's part of the venue.
Yeah.
Wow. See, and I asked that question because I'm a big one for how people think. My son has grown up being asked some of the most off the wall questions just because I like to check in with where his mind went with it. My favorite was, if you were going to kill me, how would you? Because who hasn't thought about killing their parents at one time or another?
Sure.
It's typical, totally. So, the Whiskey Go-Go, yeah, there's some history there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not the biggest venue in the world. I think I'd never been there before we played, and when we got there, I was kind of amazed. I'm like, this place is a lot smaller than I expected it to. Club Red's bigger than the Whiskey.
Yeah.
So.
Well, as starstruck as I was a little disappointed because we had a trailer on our truck. They made us pay double for parking. We had to give them 25% of our merch, and the asshole sound guy told us to turn down. Like, who the fuck does that for a metal band at the fucking Whiskey on Hollywood? Whatever.
Wow. I mean, and that always shocks me because I've been at a couple of shows where bands have been asked to turn it down. And I'm like, did you not know who you were booking? Did you not think about who you were booking?
For that, and musicians know what the reason is, so it's just...
Okay, so now share it with the rest of us that don't understand the reasoning behind without calling anybody out or anything like that.
So if you're a guitar player, which I am, and if I've got my amp turned up to 8 on stage, you're supposed to be making your PA out front do all the work.
Right.
And if I've got my amp turned up to 8, the microphone that's in front of my amp doesn't need it at 8, and all it's doing is fucking up the mix. And the sound guy has no control over that. So he wants it at the bare minimum of what the microphone's going to pick up well, and then he wants to do the rest of the work. And we haven't turned up so we can hear it on stage, because I can't hear over the fucking drums ever. Yeah. So I've got to have my amp pointed right at me, and I've got to have it cranked in order for me to hear. Some venues have decent monitors, right? The speakers are right at your feet, pointed at your face. And if last time we played Club Red, I could hear everything.
Oh, that was so pristine.
Something changed between we'd been there a month earlier, and it was the same sound guy too. So I don't know if they changed up monitors or
it was immaculate.
Something was different, and all of a sudden I could hear everything coming through the monitor. So I didn't need my amp turned way out. But then there are some, I guess, modern musicians which I could do this. You could just direct into the PA, not even use an amp on stage, and just have that sound coming out of the monitors be
I wouldn't trust that for bass. I've always wanted to make somebody hit a brown note. That was my entire goal ever since I picked up the bass.
Okay, what does that mean? You're talking to a total novice.
Wait. Let's not explain it in the interview. We'll let you look up what the brown note is.
Oh goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up what the brown note is.
Because it'll be funnier than us telling you.
Urban Dictionary or something like that.
All right. So it falls along the lines of blue waffle. Fantastic.
No, it's not as obscene. It's just really embarrassing.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. I promise, guys, on an upcoming episode, I will report in as to exactly what that means.
Yeah, just give us credit for that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am absolutely big about shout-outs and giving credit for stuff, so you betcha. So let's go to the question that gets me eye rolls and groans on a regular basis, because this is going to lead into my big topic for you guys. So, if you guys could share the stage, build a band, take your choice, either build your dream band or share the stage with, show bill with, which one do we want to go? Build the dream band or share the stage with?
I think I would rather share the stage because, I don't know, building a dream band, it's there's a lot of personalities you have to deal with, especially with people that are really, really
trust me, from a non-musician who gets to deal with y'all, I get that, a lot of personalities, I promise.
A lot of egos, I mean.
Get that one too. Yeah.
But as far as building a show, I think that would be fun. Like, now you're talking with mainstream bands or local bands?
Take your choice.
Anyone?
And they don't even have to still be in existence.
Oh shit!
Which is why people. That's why I get the eye rolls and the
with the world wide open. I don't even know where to start. You know what? Gavin hit me with this a couple of years ago too. Who's your dream?
I saw that
tour?
video.
Like,
You're
fuck,
like,
I don't know. Tell me about this head attack. So I had
So
this
you've
question
had
2 years
2
ago.
years and you haven't
and
come
I
up
still-
with it. Oh
still-
my god!
It's even funnier on the interview because he's like,
Yeah, that's true. No, but then if you leave it wide open, some of the classic greats, Zeppelin and Sabbath. I don't think I'd want to share stage with Sabbath, but Zeppelin and shit. I don't know. I'm a huge Kiss fan, but you can't follow Kiss, so.
Kiss would open up for us.
Kiss would open up. No, that's just what I'm saying.
You can't follow.
Nobody has that stage show.
I don't know. Waz might be able to follow Kiss. They've got a pretty good stage presence, I gotta say. I saw the box go up on the stage that said raw meat and went, oh, wait a minute, I know what's coming. I've got to step back.
That's I don't know. That's a really hard question for me because I have such an
you
eclectic...
picked it versus building a band.
Well,
oh my god!
Even with building a band, it's how am I feeling right now? Like the answer could be totally different in 10 minutes. Just depending on. I have such a huge taste in music. Like I like everything from Steely Dan to fucking the craziest death metal to gangster rap to even some old school R&B or whatever.
So my mind immediately went to Foo Fighters, and not that I want to share a stage with them. That I want to step on stage with them. I want to be part of that band, and that it is part of it is just the music was something that again I listened to a lot of heavier stuff, but Foo Fighters has always had just enough edge to it to keep my attention, and Dave Grohl, it seems to be the coolest guy out there. I have a man crush on Dave Grohl.
Nice.
So, that would just be badass. You watch them, again, I'm going to go back to, didn't they do something live at Wembley a few years back?
Was that the one where he broke his leg and he was still playing? Or
No.
But the one where they had some kid come up on stage and just,
no. But they get out there and they're playing to 100,000 people or 80,000 people or whatever it is. And it's like you can just see that's this amount of emotion that's happening. One of the things that's really, really hard to explain to a non-musician is the very palpable energy that you receive from the crowd.
I'm an energy person, so I walk out of some of these shows and I feel like I have just taken all kinds of very, very big levels of uppers of God only knows what kind because I am bouncing off the walls and it's hours before I can come down.
And as a musician, as people are giving you that energy on stage.
Absolutely.
I'm not. I say from experience that I take that in, and
absolutely.
There's nothing better, quite frankly, and it could be a small venue, it could be a big venue. Now I've played to big crowds. I've played. I opened for some big names. 10 years ago, I opened for Kiss and Malo De Dentro. The crowd there was several thousand, and it was good, but they weren't there for me. They weren't there to see me and my band. So it was fun. It was great. I didn't feel that kind of energy. I played Club Red. I've played Joe's when I felt that shit.
Right.
It was coming at
when
me.
you
I
can
couldn't
feel
avoid
it rolling.
Yeah.
It's the way I describe it to people is I took my son to a Scottish Highlands game.
Oh, cool.
Back home, and we got there in time for the pipe and drum band competition. And so I stop, and we're about 2 football fields away. And the first band comes out, and you hear the bagpipes and the drums, and it's just rolling, and you can feel that energy rolling across 2 football fields. And it was almost a, oh my God, step back moment. And my son said something about it, and I went, yeah, baby, now you know why they do that, because the people they were coming up against in war, that made them afraid, and half of them ran just from that.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
But that rolling energy it's it's there.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've felt it. I've walked away high from it, and I'm not even on the damn stage where it's pointed at.
I was in that college band. I was like 22, 21, and that was the first time I felt that, where it was, I hadn't ever experienced that before, and so it was kind of foreign, and it hit me, and I still remember that moment, that first time that hit. It was in some little shit bar in Rock Island, Illinois, and it was just like something just happened that night, and I went, oh fuck, I want more of that. That was cool. Let's do that again.
Best drug out there.
Let's do this again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in 4th grade, we went on a field trip to this community college to go see a symphony orchestra, and that's what did it. That blew me the fuck away. A big 65-piece, just full-on orchestra.
Right.
No mics, no amplifiers, or nothing.
No.
Just straight, boom, acoustic sound.
Absolutely.
Like, the hairs on my arms are standing up just thinking about it.
Yep.
That's what got me hooked.
It is. It's amazing. So we're coming up to the end of our time. So there's been an elephant in the room all night. But I wanted to get the good information out of you guys before we brought this up.
Sweet tea.
So you guys aren't going to be around after.
Nope.
So first of all, your last show is
March 27th, Rebel Lounge. Obviously, Malo De Dentro will play along with Sectus, While She Waits, and 3 Seconds More, some of our favorites.
Nice. Fantastic.
We will also have past members of Malo De Dentro. Again, we have a 15-year history. So a lot of dudes have come and gone.
Right.
So we are bringing in, including Chuck Simos and Dave Cheney. I think we're original members of the band.
I'm going to have to check my calendar and see what I know I've got something on the 28th, but I might have to do a back-to-back weekend.
You know what, I'm excited because I think it's going to be a great show, and I'm really looking forward to playing. I'm really not looking forward to not playing after that with this group.
Yeah.
Our drummer Malo has decided that he wants to focus on other things in his life, and he is the last remaining original band member. So he's been in this band for 15 years, and he's just kind of decided that there's some other things he wants to do at this stage in his life, and playing in live bands isn't part of that.
Right.
Steve, our lead guitarist, kind of decided that he wants to try some other things as well. I'm confident Steve will be back to live bands before too long, but he has some things right now that he wants to do.
Well, and I've been told many times by many musicians you can't walk away from the music for long. It's kind of an addiction.
I'm hooked.
I'm hooked, and I'm not even a musician.
So the plan is right now, Chris and I are moving on, and we're forming a new project. We've been low key about it right now, just because we kind of want to get through this part of it.
Well, your focus
energy
needs
on
to
that
be
on the end, and then we'll be able to focus on the beginning of something else that'll be cool. And I'll never quit. This has been Malo De Dentro has been the best band experience I've ever had.
Same here.
One of the things is personalities, and we all get along great. We have our moments like anyone else that has to.
All families do.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're brothers for sure, and this has been really cool. The music has been great. I'm really proud of the music. Yeah. The stuff that we've done over the last 3 years, especially the stuff we just put out last summer.
Yeah. I think
really
Euthanasia was the best performance of my career personally.
Yep. And so Chris and I have agreed we're gonna keep doing this, and we want to keep doing things together. So we're gonna find a guitarist and find a drummer, and we're talking to some people right now. But again, just kind of, I don't want to rush it.
No, absolutely not.
I have been known to rush things in the past and just kind of dive in head first. And the experience that I've had over the last couple of years is basically telling me, don't just rush into something because you think somebody can play. Let's make sure that all of the gears are catching, and let's make sure that it goes smoothly. So that's the plan. So you may not see Chris and I out playing again live for another 6 months or 12 months or whatever it takes.
Right.
That said, a lot of the Malo De Dentro music is stuff that I wrote. Mm-hmm. So probably whatever we come into, we'll start with some of those songs, and I've already started writing new stuff. I have 5 or 6 new songs just recently. So
does that mean you guys are going to be open if a band needs a fill-in, so that I know who to point them at?
Yeah,
sure, yeah. Hell, if somebody needs
I'm not kidding, because I actually do get bands. I mean, Stereo Rex just hollered out like to everybody. Their drummer was sick for their last show, so they're like, "Hey, can anybody fill in?" I had another band a couple of weeks ago that had to give up a show date because they couldn't find a bass player, and I'm like,
I'm always open for stuff like that.
Yeah.
all right, good. Now I've got y'all in the Rolodex. Trust me, y'all are in the Rolodex. So March 27th.
Yep, it's a Friday night.
Is a Friday night, and it's your final show, and Club Red.
The Rebel
Lounge.
Or Rebel Lounge. God,
It's
darn it.
where the old
Rebel
Mason
Lounge.
jar used
This
to be.
this is why I write things down. The Rebel Lounge on the 27th of March.
Correct. Doors open at 7. First band will go on at 8. And we're, one of the other things that we've noticed about the local community.
Thank you.
But the shows, specifically the shows, a lot of the bars and promoters are just worried about getting asses in the club. And so if you figure this place can hold 200 people, I'm going to have 8 bands play thinking they can each bring 20 people. Most of my clubs full at that point. So
Right.
that's the way they do it. They just play the numbers
Right.
game. We don't want that for this last show.
No.
Number one, we want to do something that's
This
a little more...
this is a memory maker.
Yeah.
So we were going to go with 3 bands, and the venue said we want to do a little bit more. Okay, so we compromised. But the other thing we're going to do a long set. We're going to do
Right.
at least an hour, because we don't normally get to do that. Most of the bands are doing 30, 40 minutes.
45-minute set is pretty standard.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of them are usually a half hour, especially for the
Depends
bigger
on
acts.
it depends on what venue and what's going on, but I know a lot of the shows at the local bars and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a 15 minutes to get on, set up, and sound check, and then 45 minutes, and yeah.
So this one will run more like kind of what I've always been used to. If you go to a bigger show, they're going to have the first band come on and play a little shorter set, and then each band will progressively do a little bit more, and then the headliner, Malo De Dentro, will be on last,
Right.
and we will do a long set. We'll do, like I said, at least an hour, maybe a little bit more, and we're not going to make somebody else close the show. That's for us to do. So that's the way we're going to work it. And I think that's something we've been wanting to do for a while, where we kind of run it and do it that way.
So are there ticket sales for this, or is it just you're paying at the door?
It's $10 if you get tickets ahead of time.
Okay.
It'll be $12 at the door. Tickets are available from any of the bands, any of the band members. And you can go to our website, www.malodedentro.com, or you can even go to the Rebel Lounge and look up the date and buy tickets from them.
I will make sure to get the website out with the show poster on the local beat, so that you guys can go on and get your tickets online, or reach out to band members to get your tickets. This is going to be a history moment. I'm such a girl. I get all mushy over these kinds of things.
Well, and that's the thing. We didn't want to just fade out. We wanted to go out with a bang. So that's what we're doing.
That sounds phenomenal.
Fade away.
Exactly.
Okay, I am so used to being around musicians who think in song lyrics. It's totally okay.
I was apologizing for my horrible singing.
Okay. I was going to say, because my son and I have whole conversations in song lyrics, and neither of us are musicians.
Nice.
So we are going to wrap this up tonight with one more reminder. The Rebel Lounge, March 27th. It will be the last show for Malo De Dentro.
Perfect.
Oh my God, I got it right. Holy cow. So I will make sure show posters are out there. Guys, thank you for sitting down with me and taking this time to
No problemo.
give us a little bit of the background on this.
Thank you for your support and for your time.
No problem. Thank you guys all for tuning in. This was The Beat Goes On, and we will see you next time.